Welcome back, Redeemers. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Curtis.
I'm Nick.
I'm Keith.
And today we're going to be getting into Agust /SUGA, The Last.
Yep. Dive right in.
And happy birthday as well to SUGA.
Happy
So
birthday,
jump right
my
in.
guy.
All right, let's go. 2 feet.
God's here.
Cheer up the gods. Opa. Nice beat switch.
There we go.
Oh my God. Shit, indeed.
Shit.
I'm downloading that right now.
So, I mean,
That was everything I was just talking about, though.
yeah.
It's funny. I feel like he heard me with the whole angling. Y'all get what I mean, though? Being
Channeling
able
your
channeling it and being able to talk about, I guess, a different struggle. Like I said, the whole. I guess it wasn't my gripe on the last one with the whole, struggle bars, but this was just a little bit different in the sense of him just talking about like even making it with that type of what type of monster that can turn you into.
I
His
almost
raw passion and energy.
I almost hate how much I love this because it hurts when you get attached to people like that, like within the group, and then you see them going through all that pain and all that suffering, but yet the product is so like amazing.
You're
as a
like,
result of
yeah, I
it.
know you shouldn't be doing drugs, but do one more line before you go in the
It's,
studio.
no, it's just like
Could you please? Like Eminem. Like,
That
can
was
you go?
a-
Can
that
you
was a
go
big
back
thing.
on drugs? Because your music was so much better.
it's such a blessing and a curse, just like, but I don't know what it is. It's just like whenever someone is talking about something that's so painful and traumatic for them musically, it just translates and resonates so strongly.
Yeah, you
And-
probably like a musical empath. You
I mean,
feel
I
that
could talk
shit.
just about the technicality of it, just his flow and his cadence and how,
Yeah.
you know, he was attacking the beat and everything. In the first half, he was more passive, you know, kind of like
Oh, but once that beat
towing
ramped
the
up,
line.
yeah,
He was
once
like
that
towing
beat
the
ramped
line
up, he definitely
of,
went in.
you know, just musically towing the line of like those things, and then getting to that midpoint, that beat kicks in, and then he gets full on aggressive with it. It was this really blew me away.
Yeah, not to mention that the song was like the track. It's a lot of relatable things being talked about, like on these type of tracks and stuff all like that. Literally, almost the whole first half is just talking about being misunderstood and no one being able to even understand him, not his friends, parents,
Not even
anybody
himself.
else, not himself. So you know, we a lot of us go through identity issues, or sometimes just trying to understand like what's our being, or you know who we are, what we're doing here, et cetera, et cetera. So just I guess being able to vibe out with somebody who you really love already and hear them going through a lot of the same issues you're going through is very therapeutic, because music is definitely one of those outlets that you can use when you're in a mood to kind of either get out or just stay in. So sometimes we like being in certain moods and stuff like that for a period of time. But this song just really resonated with a lot of issues I was going through with before and other stuff. And I think Suga, I mean, I guess you could say it about every member, but he's definitely like one of the core members where you can just kind of feel emotions running through him throughout the track. Definitely the reason why I'm always getting wrecked. But yeah, y'all anything y'all want to say?
First off, his fucking breath control
Ridiculous.
is ridiculous. And I think it's underestimated. I don't think we've ever actually called it out yet in detail, but his breath control is bananas. Like the way he can just go off on a bar and then you try to
I
emulate.
think the last time we said it was Cypher 2.
Yeah, and you can't, like, you got to take a breath and miss a few bars and then jump back in just to kind of catch up. Like, yeah, his shit is bananas. I definitely agree. I love the stuff that he was talking about. You know, as far as his early life and looking back into the parts of himself that he'd rather not be, or most people would rather not be vulnerable about. You know, hiding in the bathroom because you're afraid of people, or just you know, your weaknesses. I don't forget, like the line in Suicide Squad when he was afraid of the rats. He was like, "Why didn't you tell me you're afraid of rats? Because I'm an assassin. Why would I give you my weaknesses?" Like, but that's how most artists are, because you know, it's always a war of words with somebody else, and everything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Court of music.
Yeah, so people are very careful about what they say and what they put out there.
Some people want to, like you said, it goes into like trying to have a certain image too, where like you said, people don't want to
Appear weak.
appear weak or be on that type of stuff. Some people just like, I just want to look like a boss and I do this and that.
People don't even want to appear happy in their life. They'd rather appear as the bitter, angry person as opposed to being happy with what they have.
Well, I mean, you notice even in the bars he was saying, every negative thing he said, at least right before he kicks into that high gear, when he's like fully, you know, venting those emotions, was he would say something negative, but then reflect it with something not positive necessarily, but just more realistic. Like, oh yeah, I went through this, I went through that, but then everyone's got their problems. Or, you know, I dealt with this, but that's in the past. You know, that was a memory. Like, I'm not at that place now. Like, it felt like you were just towing that line, as I was saying. But I love, like, I mean, there was so much about this. Like even one of the lines that stood out was, him raising his hand, and then thousands of heads nodding, and everything like that. Like just the power that like I hold, or that like this platform holds, from all the hard work that you had gone through, all the struggles you had. Like you're reaping a benefit, but you still feel those core root problems. And he was really vulnerable in this track for sure. And I feel like it's a big reason why he's my bias, just because I know so much of what he has gone through. I don't know all of it, but his journey is so empowering. But on top of that, like what he brings musically, not even to mention as a producer, as we're kind of starting to learn a little bit now, he's just so musically inclined. And the struggle he had to go through was just, ridiculous.
And he also said in a line earlier, like habitually saying, fuck you, I don't care about this, and blah, 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 and I don't care about that. I know a lot of people, even myself at one point, will use that as like a shield or a cloak or armor.
It is.
To
get away
guard
from
up whatever I was dealing with or whatever I was feeling at the time or whatever. Because I didn't want to deal with it or you know what I mean? Or, again, you don't want to appear vulnerable. And it took me a while. Like, I talk to people about how I feel now, or I'm pretty open about how I feel now. When people say I have a bad poker face. It
takes a while to get to that
But
place,
before, I was super stoic. Like, if I didn't tell you, you didn't fucking know. And that's how I was. And then once those walls got broken down, it was impossible to put them back up. Yeah. But you would, like, just use words or deflections to kind of, like, take the attention off of you. Like, even now, I'll hit up people and be like, hey, how are you? And they're like, I'm good, how are you? And I'm like, no, so how was your day? Yeah. I don't want to talk about my fucking day. I didn't call you to tell you about my day. How are you doing?
Well, funny enough, I mean, I'm like that in a lot of ways, but like walls that used to be concrete for me are more of rubber now.
Okay.
Like it's more so like just like it's a guard that's up, it's a deflective, but it's more so like it comes from a place of care and compassion rather than like not wanting to get hurt. Because I'm empathetic and things of that nature, so it's just like I know what I'm dealing with. Like I just want to make sure you're cool, things of that nature. But even one of the things I love that he had said in here is basically, with the fame, none of it went away, like all those core problems. And with that logic, if I'm the root of this, I might as well get the guillotine, basically. And it was just, and I don't know why that line struck me so much, just as far as mental health and like, suicide and things like that. But it's just that mindset of like, I can't run from these issues. So like I have to end a part of me to kind of end it. Like it just, I don't know why, that just was really well expressed within his lyrics. And then that's when the beat cut off and it kind of was able to ride out for a little bit. Then he kicked into that high gear, but that left me really speechless. Like, within the song.
Like going to that, I heard Shadow as one of the first solo Sugar songs ever.
Yeah.
For me. So hearing anything when he's talking about things like that always reverts to me about the Shadow mind state. I want to be this, I want to be famous, I want to be the top, I want to be all these things. But I don't want the other side of that. I don't want that pressure. I don't want to be too high because then that's a longer fall. I don't want to be too high because it's going to cast a bigger shadow. And like to me, some of these words, some of these lyrics go hand in hand with that same thought process. Like, like you said, me being famous didn't take anything away. Those shadows are still there. I want to be the king. I want to be the top because I thought those things would disappear once I got them. But now that I have them, they didn't disappear. They got bigger.
He had a beautiful analogy as well with kind of like a psycho ward sort of situation. Like when he's talking about all these medical problems, things that like you would be seeking help for treatment. And then he basically kind of made the analogy of like having to shut my mouth and swallow that pill of the sweet and the sour. And it both felt like you were silenced within like your expression of everything because you're just having to take the good with the bad for what it is. But also that play on just, as you see in like, psych wards or anything like that, like having to take a daily medication and everything. It's just, but he channeled that so subtly.
At 2 o'clock for you J-Hope fans.
No, I'm really blown away by this, honestly.
Yeah, this was a good one, man. Shit is just crazy, man. I'm just ready to hear some more content. I know this is off of D1, so
Yeah.
this is like the first mixtape. Is ironically the first track on there is "Give It to Me."
Makes sense.
That's probably my favorite shit track, if I'm being honest.
What, give it to me?
It's just something about how it's constructed and stuff, and that you shot behind that. But who knows? Probably after the night, it might be something else. I don't know.
Bro, how about it?
But I know the vibes, man. More sugar content on the way. Let's jump into some other shit. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Peace.